It's the moment when humanity is overcome by majesty, when grace is ushered in for good, and all our scars are understood, when mercy takes its rightful place, and all these questions fade away, when out of weakness we must bow and hear you say it's over now. I'm alive, and even though a part of me has died, you take this heart and breathe it back to life. I fall into your arms open wide, when the hurt and the healer could Jesus come and break my fear, wake my heart and take my tears, find your glory even here, when the hurt and the healer could
before, the life you knew, in 1,000 pieces on the floor. And words fall short in times like these, when this world drives you to your knees. You think you're never gonna get back to the you they used to be. Tell your heart to beat again. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. Say goodbye to where you've been, and tell your heart to beat again. Just let that word wash over you. It's alright now. Love's healing hands have pulled you through. So get back up, take step one. Leave the darkness, feel the sun. 'Cause your story's far from over, and your journey's just begun. Tell your heart to beat again. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. Say goodbye to where you've been, and tell your heart to beat again. Let every heart break and every scar be a picture that reminds you who has carried you this far. 'Cause love sees farther than you ever could. In this moment, heaven's working everything for your good. Tell your heart to beat again. Close your eyes and breathe it in. Let the shadows fall away. Step into the light of grace. Yesterday's a closing door. You don't live there anymore. Say goodbye to where you've been, and tell your heart to beat again. Your heart to beat again. Beat again. Oh, so tell your heart to beat again.
That is one of my most favorite songs. I got to hear it when I was at a comfort zone grief camp that I got to attend to shortly after my son died, and I'll visit with you a little bit more about him as we go. And it was one of those songs that have kind of held true to me. It's reminding us to stop and to breathe. So if you're wondering why you're here today and you're wondering what expectations are, there are none. You came here and you're present, and you get to remember those that that you're thinking about that have died by suicide, that completed suicide, had death by suicide, whatever words that help you name that, or how you've been affected by the ripple effects. Thank you for being vulnerable and being here with us today. My name is Melissa Doherty White, and I come here in multiple ways. First and foremost, I get to call it my church. I get to call this my church family, where our family has been for years. And my son Connor actually used to play guitar right here in the praise worship band. And so for me being back in this room to do this service also touches another place in my heart. I also just really want to thank those who are going to offer music for us today. Music is another way to grieve and to mourn, and we're so thankful for another opportunity for that. And I want to say thank you to Molly Johnson and Jeff Adams, who help lead our worship team here at First United Methodist Church, right here at the 11 o'clock service on Sundays. And they have invited, and we welcome others who are joining us for that. And because I don't want to say anything correctly about what part of this that you do, I'm going to read my notes. On the keys and vocals is Jeff. The guitar and vocals is Sterling Hubbard. And the drums will be Dwight Emmel. And the bass, Molly Johnson. And sound, I already mentioned, is Kyle Talent. And Molly, if you have any things to add, to change to that. And of course, Bonnie Castillo. And she also gets to be our organist. And she has lots of roles, too, here. So... but we come to you today as a part of the Suicide Prevention Coalition team that was started a while back when it was noticed that this was definitely something that was impacting our community. And I'm so thankful for those who have been a part of that. And after my son Connor died, it was the time for me, well, not quite. Actually, it took me a little while. It took me a couple years before I really started to, as a way to reach out. And this service, this Hour of Remembrance service, became, instead of our Suicide Survivor Week, we realized, or day, that we coupled it, because this was a time of the year that was needed. But as we know as survivors, this is always. It's not just one day. It's just not one moment. And so again, those are just a little bit of introductions I wanted to first share. The second group of people I wanted to share with you are sitting back towards the back. All three of the men that start with J's in our church back there. We have Juan Espinoza, who leads our Hispanic community in service and in ministry here at the church. Thank you for being here. And Pastor Jerry Nolte, who is our primary minister of our church, and Jeremy Amrine is sitting next to him, who is our youth director, and very much all three are involved within our families in the church. So we're so thankful that you get to be here. I'm going to ask Jerry if you wouldn't mind coming up and leading us in prayer as we begin. I'd appreciate that. And as he comes forward again, just some opportunities today, just to pause. Oh, and I want to say thank you up in the crow's nest. Is that what we call that? Okay. Craig Cohen is helping us to be live streamed today. So if there's people in our community that are not here with us today, they can join us. So you are safe. If you're behind these chairs, you're not on camera. But if you come up here, you might be.
Exactly. Just about that, it will go to YouTube. And so we have taken every precaution. There are only cameras that catch your backs, like Melissa said, unless you come forward and face the cameras. Again, I welcome you on behalf of the church. I echo what Melissa has just said. Melissa and I have been together here at the church now for 5 years, and I have come to really appreciate Melissa's deep spiritual journey. She has a depth to her that is critical for me. I look forward to sharing times with her every day that I can. It's not every day of the week that I get to do that, but it is frequently. And so thank you, Melissa, for coordinating this event for us as a community, for us as a people of God who desire to be led by God. And in that vein, I would invite you to observe a moment of holy and sacred silence, if you would. Eternal presence, you are our holy covenant friend. We come this afternoon, this evening, honoring those in our lives who are no longer with us physically, but are in our hearts, in our daily living, in so many other ways. Be with us as we honor them, as this moment of remembrance. Be with each one of us as we continue to progress through our lives and our journey. Help us, O Lord, to be your servants, to serve you and our neighbor in everything that we would say and do. It is in your holy, magnificent name I do now pray, Almighty God, who was, who is, and who will be forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Jerry. As we begin, continue the service, really maybe put in your heart and your mind a little bit about darkness into light. That's really going to be, has resonated with me. It has been in one of those moments when you think about things like this, when we lose somebody that we love and we're in the depths of grief, it can feel very dark. And so that's why I invited you to take a candle today. And at any point you're ready to bring light to it. A different time of the day would lend itself to a little bit atmosphere in this room to have it darker. But I don't think the light physically necessarily changes where we are. So kind of join us with wherever you are in that. Now I'm very excited to, as I continue just to invite the band to come back up here, or not back, but to join us. They're going to lead us in the first song that they're going to share. And it's titled God That Saves by Iron Bell Music. And I got to say that this one was newer to me, and I just really enjoyed it. So thank you, band, for, again, giving your time and service to us as we enjoy this time of music.
Once torn and beaten,
sunlight, stop and look deeply, you will see small pieces of color. Perhaps some hope or some shimmer shine through just a little bit. They can look so beautiful on their own, but not really connected quite yet. It isn't until you turn the parts of the kaleidoscope do you really see the bigger pieces and patterns working together in these masterpieces. Not always the same, it can constantly changing. There are less shadows and more beauty. Now imagine looking at the edges and colors and patterns connections placed against the constant light. I wonder what might you see? Will the broken pieces? Will the rough edges stick out? Will the shadows of darkness take over as always? Will doubt and fear consume hope? Will loneliness and humanness only be seen? Will our shame and would-haves, could-haves, and should-haves replace the grace? You see, only when you place it against the light will the true beauty and light shine through. Round and round and round the kaleidoscope clicks, and it changes as the light and the color connect. And then it allows us to see the beauty in the brokenness. It allows us to look at things just a little bit differently than maybe we've done before. The rough edges turn into beautiful lines. The shadows become reflections. And no place is isolated. Only connected to beauty and love. It gives us space to set towards our wholeness and away from only the circumstances and grief that are holy, that we may think define us. May you seek the light. May you see life with all the brokenness mixed in with the new gifts of friends, co-workers, and family. May you, in the midst of all of these things, look at things just a little bit differently. When I took these pieces and I thought about how to use that, how could I really make something with it? I went and found all the broken pieces. Trust me, one of these days I'm going to go out with something and I'm actually going to break it. Wouldn't that be really cool? Like to break the glass or something about that, right? And began just placing them on something that was glass. And of course, when a place in town was here, we could go get crafts more often. That's where I would spend my time. And I would put, I have to do with my hands to mourn and grieve, right? It's an action. The mourning is the action that helps us work through the grief. No matter how small, no matter how big, no matter what it might be. Maybe it's through music, maybe it's by playing, maybe it's by writing. Whatever it is, it gives us something to hold on to work through that grief. And I put them together in any random or very specific way. All the broken pieces became something beautiful. And there's nothing there this time with light too much, right? And of course, when I did have the light, it didn't work today. And so what do? You think about it a different way, right? What else could we do to add the light? And you just keep adding something to change it. The sunlight was beautiful. I put it outside to see what would happen, what reflections would happen. But the more we add light, the way things change it, even in the darkest of times, that flicker of light has given me hope. So it stayed with me throughout the years as a way to remember and to keep moving towards healing, towards reconciliation in my grief. Suicide is one of those things that I said we'll never quite understand, but we do know that it affects us so profoundly. No matter how many years, no matter how many days have gone by, it always stays with us. So I want to thank you for letting me share a little bit about Connor. I would love to hear your story someday if I haven't already, to share your person, to share your journey and grief. And anytime that you want to do that, and we're able to touch him, I'd love to hear that from you. I did add him. I added one of his pictures also on my report, right over here. And then inside that glass container, if you decide that you want a piece of glass to take with you, I might actually gently put some on the clock so that you're not reaching in there with all of our wonderful things that we're dealing with right now. But again, I just want to say thank you for letting me share a little bit about his story and to help me continue to talk and grieve and mourn. What I want to offer you today next is from the Foundation for Suicide Prevention. As I mentioned before, Suicide Survivors Day used to be, it is still at a different time, closer to Thanksgiving. And as a way to mend and couple with our Suicide Prevention Week, we went ahead and coupled it with this week. And they offer some really amazing stories that continue to talk about the journey of others. And so today, I'm just going to share this video with you. It's about 10 minutes long, and it talks about one family's journey in the loss of their child, their older son.
Runners dance!
My son Chris was the most handsome, intelligent young man.
Soft-spoken, but funny.
Funny, sarcastic.
Yeah,
He cared about, like, secretly nice.
An amazing brother and friend to me. He had a really big heart.
Hell of a teammate, hell of a friend. You know, I just think of him next to me and like helping me through it, out there enjoying the sun and the trails.
He was my brother, and it was really hard to lose that.
My name's Brenda Taddeo. I lost a son, my youngest son, to suicide almost 6 years ago.
For me, my friendship, we were inseparable for, 22 years of our lives, playing outside every single day in the summer. We were at the same schools. We were almost twins, I felt.
I was the bossy older sister, so, I said, we're gonna be friends too. I'm gonna make you do everything with me. I would call him and say, hey, I wanna do this and I'm not going by myself, so. And he would say, okay, that's fine, I guess.
Chris was pretty introverted and quiet. And sometimes that bothered him. That was something that bothered him. He didn't feel as social as he would like to be.
And I told him when he got into 7th grade, you gotta find some kind of team or sport or something to do, like after school. And he chose running.
When Chris started running, he was sort of a middle of the road runner. And then he went to a couple summer camps throughout high school, and we noticed by his senior year, he had really just taken off.
He was friends with people on his running teams. And, after college, they all sort of trickled away and moved out of town, moved out of state. So he didn't really have anybody anymore.
Chris, I think, struggled a lot with his transition once he graduated from college. He had these expectations of himself. There was just something in him that he became more and more discouraged. The first question that I had, and I said out loud to my dad, why? And he said, I don't know. Especially I had just talked to him, and I felt like, I just talked to him. How could this have happened?
that day of his death runs through my head every day, too. And I have to try to set it aside and put it out of my mind. But we miss him so much. I just miss him and think about him every day.
Sometimes, some people, the first year can be tough because you're just, to some degree, you're in shock. I think that second year, you start to realize he's not back. He's not going to be back.
I felt like that can't be right. I can't, I went through like a period of denial that night where it's like, no, like they've got it wrong. They're confused. There's still a chance. And, like that week after, I went back to work the next week and I just dove back into work a little bit. And I think I put off some of the, serious confronting of what happened.
It sort of felt like, well, he's away at school, he's away at college, and, he'll be coming back someday. Well, eventually I learned that he's never coming back.
All of these questions kind of, like, how sad was he? Had he been sad his whole life, or just after a transition back home after college? I felt like there was like a never-ending stream of all these questions that we were left with. For whatever reason, he was scared to tell somebody, to tell us, to tell even a doctor that he felt like that.
We didn't understand depression, that how can depression be that severe? But it can be debilitating.
I think there's always a period of time where you feel guilty, that I didn't do something. I could have done something.
You can't go there all the time. You just can't. If you learn more about mental health, that you can be better prepared, so I can maybe help somebody else.
I loved him with everything I had, and that was all I could do for him.
I think the hardest part about the marriage after the death of a child is no two people grieve the same way. You might be in a stage where you cry a lot and the other person is not. So if you understand that, then you can help get through it.
The days after, I kept on closing the bedroom door. And I think my husband wanted the door open to see his room. But then I realized this is where we raised our kids, and played in the backyard and played with each other and their toys. That house was their home. And I thought to myself, I have a lot more good memories being in that home than the one traumatic, devastating, bad memory. So I started coming to church just a few months after he died. I saw a new light and a new hope. I joined a compassionate friends group, and this is for parents that have lost children.
I know Brenda will internalize more than I do. Sometimes you say things at the meetings, you open up, and I find, she's feeling this. It's okay to have those feelings. They're natural feelings. There's nothing wrong with them.
My first time I walked in, I was just amazed that there was so many other parents that had felt like me and had gone through losing a child. It was just so hard to believe, but they knew how I felt.
We were fortunate that we had support. We had family, we had friends. Those kind of things impacted our lives.
It's always going to hurt. It's always going to, be a part of me that's not there. But I think over time, you learn to rely on other people a little bit better.
I had really great friends who were willing to talk to me when I needed to talk. They were willing to listen. They weren't scared to talk about Chris. They weren't scared to say his name. They weren't scared to say, I went for a run today and I thought about Chris the whole time. We would have wanted Chris to seek mental health treatment, to see a doctor. So how could we not do that for ourselves? My therapist let me talk freely about Chris, about what was bothering me. And I said, there are sometimes I will see something in Wegmans and I just want to cry. And he said, you know what? Why don't you? But it seemed like there would always be some sign from him to keep going or to get back up the next morning and do it all again.
At the time that Chris died, I weighed as much as I ever did. One of the local road races that they have a 5K and a 10K, so they decided to name the 5K after Chris. And so when that happened, I said, I'd really like to do that race.
The first 5K race was dedicated to Chris Daniel. I just couldn't believe the overwhelming numbers. People that loved him and looked up to him and considered him a friend.
I can see, I think more now, how much you can touch somebody's life just because people have touched my life by helping me.
I'm not afraid to talk to people about their feelings. Like if I see somebody who I think is struggling, I go up to them and I ask point blank, like, are you okay? I care about you. If something's going on, like, let's talk about it.
But reading and understanding myself and finding how other people got through it helped me get through it.
I just wish overall that we were all more open talking about mental health in general and loss too.
I think I just notice how people are more. Like if someone is struggling, I'm just a little more like in tune to like how he's feeling now because of Chris.
Having like a network of people who all like knew him and just kind of be there for each other has been super helpful.
You can give meaning to your life, meaning to your child's life. If I'm helping other people, that makes me feel better.
I remember feeling hopeful doing his first race. I'm at that place now where I just want to create this culture where it's okay to say I'm struggling. And I'm very hopeful that more people are going to be helped, just everybody together. It just makes my heart feel full and happy. It's just amazing.
If you found that to be helpful, if you think that's something that really kind of nourishes your soul just a little bit, if you go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, they have multiple different videos and different things that they've created over the years, and there's lots of different resources also there for you. So if there's things that you've noticed that you see that might be helpful to share, we have wonderful resources here in town too with the coalition that if you look around, lots of times you'll find them. You know, Richard Falcon, I hope you don't mind me calling you out here, as part of our coalition too, and he does a lot of the yellow ribbon trainings around the area. And again, I think there's many people in this room that if you felt like you needed to talk with somebody just seek us out after to talk through some of those things and what you might need for yourself and to share with others. I'd like to go ahead and invite the band back up to do our second song of today. And as they come forward, I'm just going to share with you that I have a reading that I'm going to, that comes from the walk or the run that they've done to kind of benefit out of the darkness. And so as they finish their music today, I'll read that with you. The song that they're going to share with us is called The Throne Room by Kim Walker-Smith, and Bonnie's going to share that with us today. You are welcome to take a seat. Wasn't that beautiful? I just really was very moved by that song. I don't know if anybody can relate, but when we don't know where that light's coming from and we don't understand who the light is, the only place we do get to run is to our God. And there was a time when I was angry. There was a time when, and some of you can relate to this in my world that's been around me, there was a time when I was angry. I thought, God, how dare you take our son away? How dare you let us go through everything that we did? But he loves us no matter what feeling that we have, and he loves us no matter where we are. And through the anger, through the sadness, through any and every emotion, God has remained faithful. And even in the midst of other circumstances and trials, I stand before you today and I think he's still the light. Even when I'm so consumed with darkness and the thoughts of grief and the thoughts of our circumstances, and we don't know what's going to happen next, we get that a little bit of fear, don't we? Or perhaps you relate to that with me. But the light that happens, the light that reminds us no matter what the darkness might be, there's always a little bit of light. And that light is God. In my heart and in my soul, that hope, faith, and love is with me always. Maybe that light is brighter and I don't see the darkness as much, and sometimes it's so incredibly dim. But if I focus my heart and I pray to him and I know that he's got this, I can do another day and I breathe. So thank you again for letting me share about Connor, and thank you so much to our musicians who just so beautifully shared that moment. I just want to kind of end with, it's called Out of the Darkness, and it comes from the community walks that they've done throughout our areas, our nation, etc. And it comes from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I believe it's something that is read about the time that people are getting ready to go, to run. Out of the darkness and into the light, not a battle we choose, but one we will fight. We've all lost a loved one to this hidden foe, so out of the darkness in numbers we go. We raise awareness and we walk the walk. We fight against stigmas still plaguing most talk. Each suicide victim, a dear precious soul, who battled a darkness that took a great toll. Suicide's victims can't utter a word, but we are survivors, and we can be heard. The stigma must end and awareness must rise. We carry this message with tears in our eyes. From all walks of life, we now gather for them and shine in their honor with light from within. May you find your light in you to breathe every day. May you find your light that if it's a moment that you're ready to share, that you're ready to help with prevention, or maybe it's just time to take care of you. Wherever you are right now, we thank you that you've come. We thank you for sharing as a survivor with us and to sharing your story. Again, just thank you to those who offered our beautiful music and our time together. If there's anyone that needs anything after, go ahead and seek us out. Kyle, if you wouldn't mind playing us one of those songs just to kind of help us end our day together. Thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the
has promised good to me. His word, my hope secure. He will my shield and portion me, as long as life endures. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood, His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow, the sun forbear to shine, but God who called me here below will be forever mine, will be forever mine. You are forever mine. I see the smoke on the horizon. I feel my heart pounding in my chest. I hear the war raging all around me, and somehow I feel like I was born for this. I can taste the